Here is something that should not make sense. The product you buy most often at the grocery store, the one you grab almost every single week without thinking, is sold to you at a loss. The store pays more for it than you do. Not on sale, not as a mistake, not because they got a deal from a supplier. The price on that carton of eggs is deliberately set below what the store paid. They know it. The accountant knows it. The regional manager signed off on it. And they do it anyway, because that carton of eggs is not a product. It is a tool, a mechanism, a basket builder, a calculated sacrifice designed to get you through the door, past the aisles, and out the other side with a receipt 3 times larger than you planned. The grocery industry operates on a net profit margin of 1 to 3%. That means for every $100 you spend, the store keeps somewhere between 1 and 3. One bad quarter of spoiled produce or a broken freezer, and the profit disappears entirely. So why would a business that thin deliberately lose money on one of its most purchased items? That is the question. And the answer starts in a warehouse in Queens, in the middle of the worst economic collapse in American history. In 1930, America was falling apart. Banks were closing. Factories were shutting down. Families who had never worried about food were suddenly counting every cent at the dinner table. Michael Cullen had spent nearly 30 years in the grocery business. He started as a clerk at A&P in 1902, worked his way up, and eventually became a store manager at Kroger. He understood how grocery stores worked from the inside out, the margins, the supplier deals, the waste, and he had an idea that his bosses thought was insane. Cullen wanted to open a massive store in a cheap location, not on a busy street, but in a vacant warehouse, and sell hundreds of products at cost or below cost. Not everything, just enough. Enough to make people drive past 5 other stores to reach his. Kroger said no. They thought the idea was reckless. So Cullen quit. He took his life savings, found an abandoned garage at 17106 Jamaica Avenue in Queens, New York, and opened King Kullen on August 4, 1930. His son had drawn a picture of a man sitting on top of a globe and misspelled the family name with a K. The drawing became the logo. The slogan was 5 words long: pile it high, sell it low. Cullen divided his inventory into 4 categories. 300 items would be sold at cost. 200 would be sold at 5% above cost. 300 more would carry a 15 to 20% markup. And a final 200, the premium items, the things people did not compare prices on, would carry the full margin. The cheap items were the draw. The expensive items were the profit. The customer never saw the split. The Smithsonian Institution would later recognize King Kullen as America's first true supermarket, the first store to combine self-service, separate departments, discount pricing, chain marketing, and high-volume selling under one roof. But the real innovation was not the size. It was not the layout. It was the pricing. Cullen had built a system where specific products existed not to generate profit, but to generate traffic, to get people in the building, to fill the basket. Nobody had a name for it yet. But the concept would eventually become one of the most studied strategies in retail history. The loss leader. The math behind the grocery business is brutal and simple. The average supermarket in the United States generates millions in revenue. It keeps pennies on the dollar. The industry average net profit margin sits between 1 and 3%, among the lowest in all of retail. A large chain might manage 3 to 5% through sheer volume and supplier leverage. A specialty organic store can push towards 6%. But the typical supermarket earns $1 to $3 of profit for every $100 of sales. That number has a consequence most people never think about. It means the grocery store is not really in the business of selling food. It is in the business of managing traffic. Every operational decision, where to place a product, what to discount, when to run a promotion, is ultimately a question about how many people walk through the door and how much ends up in their cart. This is where the basket builder earns its name. A loss leader works because of a pattern so reliable it has been measured across decades and continents. Customers who enter a store to buy a single discounted item almost never leave with just that item. Industry data shows they purchase 15 to 20 additional products per visit. The margin lost on the eggs is recovered, and then some on the cereal, the cleaning supplies, the bag of chips that was not on any list. The most famous loss leader in modern retail is not an egg. It is a chicken. Costco has sold its rotisserie chicken for $4.99 since 2009. That price has not moved once, despite years of inflation, supply chain disruptions, and rising poultry costs. In 2015, Costco's chief financial officer Richard Galanti publicly stated that the company was willing to give up $30 to $40 million a year in gross margin to keep the chicken at that price. By 2023, Costco was selling 137 million rotisserie chickens annually. To keep the price locked, Costco invested $440 million in its own chicken processing facility in eastern Nebraska, partnering with Lincoln Premium Poultry to control production from hatch to shelf. Even with that investment, the facility only covers about 40% of demand. The rest is purchased on the open market at whatever the going rate happens to be. The question every business school case study asks is, why would a company deliberately lose tens of millions of dollars on a single product? The answer is that the chicken is not the product. The chicken is the reason you drive to Costco. Everything else in the cart is the product. But what happens when the system breaks? In late 2024, something happened that stress-tested the entire loss leader model. Highly pathogenic avian influenza, bird flu, swept through commercial poultry flocks across the United States. Over 50 million egg-laying hens were killed or euthanized. The supply of eggs cratered almost overnight. Wholesale prices reacted immediately. In the Midwest, a dozen large white eggs hit a record of $7.47 at wholesale in early February 2025. In California, where cage-free regulations further constrained supply, wholesale prices touched $8.85 per dozen. Retail followed, but not as fast. The average price for a dozen large eggs jumped from $1.53 in March 2020 to $6.23 by March 2025. In some stores, eggs were north of $8. On social media, screenshots of $10 egg cartons went viral. And here is where the loss leader strategy turned into a weapon. Some retailers kept selling eggs at $4, half the wholesale cost, absorbing the loss entirely. Professor Ricky Volpe at California Polytechnic State University put it plainly. You see someone complaining about $8 eggs on social media, and then someone else chimes in, "I just got them for $4. I guarantee you that was sold at a loss, as a competitive effort to increase foot traffic. The egg became the ultimate basket builder. Not because people needed eggs, they did, but because a $4 carton in the middle of an $8 market became a signal. It told customers, this store is on your side. This store is fighting for you. Come here, not there." The stores that could afford to absorb the loss did. The ones that could not had to raise prices and watch traffic walk to competitors. The margin on the eggs was irrelevant. The margin on everything else in the basket was not. By January 2026, wholesale prices had dropped back to around $2.58 per dozen, but the damage was done. The egg crisis had exposed something that most consumers never see. The price on a carton of eggs has almost nothing to do with the cost of eggs. It has everything to do with how badly the store wants you to walk through the door. And that is not even the strangest part of how grocery stores make money. There is a revenue stream in the grocery industry that most consumers have never heard of. It does not appear on any receipt. It does not involve selling anything to anyone. And according to multiple studies, it may be more profitable than the food itself. It is called a slotting fee. A slotting fee is a payment that a food manufacturer makes to a supermarket, not for advertising, not for promotion, simply for the right to have its product placed on the shelf. The practice emerged in the late 1970s and by the 80s had become standard across the industry. The numbers are staggering. According to the University of Connecticut's Food Marketing Policy Center, the total market for slotting fees in the United States is estimated at roughly $9 billion per year. A new product seeking shelf space in a single regional cluster of stores can expect to pay $25,000. In high-demand markets, the figure can reach $250,000. A Federal Trade Commission study confirmed that the practice is widespread and found that many grocery retailers earn more revenue from the fees they charge manufacturers for shelf access than they do from selling the actual products to customers. Professor John Stanton of St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia summed it up in a single sentence. They make more money when they buy food than when they sell food. In 2015, Goldman Sachs estimated that consumer goods companies paid more than $200 billion to retailers in placement fees of various kinds. The space at the front of the store near the registers where the candy bars sit is so valuable that manufacturers pay for it by the inch. This is the part the loss leader model does not advertise. The eggs might be sold below cost, the milk might break even, but the cereal company paid 6 figures for the right to sit at eye level. The snack brand paid for the end cap. The beverage company paid for the cooler by the checkout. The grocery store is not a store, it is a landlord. And the rent is invisible to everyone except the tenants. So here is what is actually happening when you walk into a supermarket to buy eggs. The eggs are priced to bring you in. The milk is at the back, so you walk past 6 aisles to reach it. The bread is in the farthest corner for the same reason. The end caps look like deals but may not be. The checkout lane is lined with small items you never planned to buy, positioned at the exact moment your willpower is lowest. And behind all of it, behind the prices you see, the promotions you clip, the layout you navigate, there is a second economy, a shadow market where manufacturers pay billions for the privilege of sitting on a shelf, where the price of a product has less to do with what it costs to make and more to do with what it costs to place. The carton of eggs is the most honest product in the store, not because the price is fair, but because it reveals what every other product hides. Nothing in a supermarket is priced to reflect its value. Everything is priced to shape your behavior. Michael Cullen understood this in 1930 when he opened a warehouse in Queens and sold 300 items below cost. Costco understands this today when it loses $40 million a year on rotisserie chickens. Every regional chain that held egg prices at $4 during the bird flu crisis understood it too. The carton of eggs is the last great basket builder. It gets you through the door. Everything after that is margin. And the next time you reach for a dozen eggs and think you got a deal, you did, just not the kind you think. In our previous video, we showed how every supermarket in the world uses the same floor layout and why. That layout exists to support exactly the system we just described. If you have not seen it yet, it is linked right here. If you want to understand how the places you shop every week are quietly designed to control what you buy, subscribe. There's a lot more to uncover.